Hey everybody, it's currently 1:14 here in Atlanta. This is Jackson talking. So it's about less than 12 hours, 10 hours since the last video that we put out. The carbon that we laid out last night was applied around 2 in the morning, so it's been about full 12 hours of cure time for the carbon. It typically takes about 8 to fully cure, depending on the temperature. It can be as low as 6 or as much as double if it's only 20 degrees lower than ideal, which is about 85 degrees. So gone around and basically checked every piece of carbon attaching the frame to the belly pan, and everything feels dry, which is honestly the easiest test that you've made it through the cure. Even if it's part of the way there and only set, it'll still feel kind of tacky. So I'm pretty certain that we are good to go. So this means that the belly pan is firmly attached to the frame. You can see that the battery pack's in there just like last night, which means that that is firmly attached to the belly pan, which in turn is attached to the structure. So everything should be pretty locked and loaded, ready to drive. So what we're going to do now is basically plug in the motor cables, which I've already gone ahead and done, and move the car back and forth and see if it's basically drivable. So again, the idea is that the electrical system just is purely contained within these two boxes. Dashboard box is the brains, battery pack and motor systems are the bronze. So hopefully just having these two connected makes the entire system work, which, as mentioned during the spin-up test, having the battery pack on the table, powering up everything connected, as you can kind of see it here, works totally fine. So I don't see any reason why moving the pack from here to here would have caused any debilitating issues that we can't immediately diagnose. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And one thing I'll go ahead and point out is that the regen paddle has its rubber band restraints removed. So the restoring spring inside the potentiometer is going to kick it all the way into the fully engaged position. So both of these paddles, when their restoring springs or restoring rubber bands break, they default to safe conditions. So throttle goes to 0 and regen goes to full. So it brings the car to a full stop. So you'll very likely hear the motors whining as they try to regen, but the car's not going to actually do anything because, again, it's just the brakes. And then I'll hop in and we'll basically just let the car kind of go back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. We'll watch the startup sequence. So you can kind of hear the whirring of the motors there. So I'm just going to go ahead and unplug the connections there, so that way they, aren't just whining the entire time. And I'm going to go ahead and set this camera up and put it in a spot where you can kind of see the car driving back and forth. I'm just going to go ahead and hop in, and basically the fairing doors aren't actually cut out yet, so it's not a huge deal for the rear because, again, these don't steer. These are more like access panels than fairing doors. But for the front, there's so little clearance that the wheels can't actually turn really any amount that matters without having these walls effectively move out of their way. So for simplicity's sake, I'm actually just going to take them out entirely, and we're just going to drive without them for today. But for the mock race over the weekend and at AMP, we're going to actually attach the hinge mechanism and the wheel spats to help knock them out of the way. So that'll be pretty much the only thing keeping us from driving this thing around. Otherwise, if the motors allow the car to drive, then we should be good to take it for a spin. And while it's taken us a little bit more time than normal to, or not more time than normal actually, while our date of June is actually about 1 month later than the first drive test of SR-2, the electrical systems have been so heavily vetted that the amount of time to go from first turning on to driving reliably should be a matter of days instead of months. So that's where we're going to buy back schedule and actually end up more prepared than we normally would be before the race. So you're about to find out if what I said is complete bullshit or not in the next few minutes. Let's see if this is a good spot. Yeah. I'll just have to remember that the field of vision is only so long, but this should be fine.